What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to episode 6 of the Lion's Den. I'm your host, Herman Moore, and we got another jam-packed show for you guys today. Alrighty, so on today's episode, we're going to go over our schedule. You know, we're fresh off our bye week into week 8, the halfway point of the season. We'll see how our Lions have been doing so far. We'll go over a couple of our standout players, who's been stepping up for the offense, the defensive sides of the football, talk a little bit about some of our contract negotiations, and then talk about a couple guys that we'd like to see step up for the future and for maybe the rest of this season, as well as go over our injury report. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it and take a look at our schedule, how we're sitting so far. So you can see we started out red hot right out of the gate, going 6-0 into week 6, headed into our week 7 bye week, and came out and actually lost a barn burner there to the Atlanta Falcons 37-31 in overtime. Tough loss. We played well. Neither defense could stop each other the entire game. Props to Brian. Just ended up taking that opening drive of overtime straight down the field and scoring. 8-play drive. You know, it was a solid drive. I just couldn't stop him. It was one of those games whoever had the ball last was going to win, and he won. And so we're both going to be sitting there at that with one loss, top of the NFC, along with the Cowboys. But you can see we're undefeated in the division right now. We got a win over the Bears in week 2, beat the Vikings in week 3, and then we handled the Packers pretty easily in week 5. You can kind of take a look at that upcoming schedule. You see we have a game against all 4 members of the NFC West. We play our division foes one more time each. And then you actually got a game against the Miami Dolphins thrown in there in week 12. So we got a tough second half of the schedule. The Rams are looking good. The 49ers getting it together, getting a big win. The Vikings are always dangerous. A couple new users. The Giants have a new user. The Seahawks we've never played. Week 14 against the Giants should be automatic. Chadwick stinks. And then another tough one with week 13. We got Nick Z and his Cardinals who have been playing real well. David Johnson running the football there. But hopefully we can get some wins, sneak into the playoffs here, and kind of see what's going on. But with that being said, let's go ahead and slide over and take a look at the NFC North, how the division standings are looking. So right now we're sitting there at 6-1. We had a more comfortable lead, but then we lost. The Bears have been on a little hot streak. The Packers' new owner came in and got his first win. And then the Vikings, the dangerous team, sitting down there at 3-4. Just a rough start to the year, but you can never count Bano Jr. out. See, we lead the division with 31 points per game. And then we had the Vikings down there giving up 29 points a game. So we see what the Vikings' problem is. They just can't stop anybody. We'll see what's going to go on. It's going to get interesting here. But, you know, a division that last year was laughed at for having everybody under 500. And now we might get maybe 2 teams in the playoffs. Who knows? The way the Bears are playing with Jordan Howard running the football. Packers' new owner looks to come in, hopefully get Aaron Rodgers going. And then obviously the Vikings, tough defense. They'll figure it out and be right up there towards the end of the season. All right, so let's move along here to our defensive standout through the first half of the season is none other than our free safety, 23-year-old Josh Jones. We actually moved Josh to strong safety, so he's playing strong safety for us. Big number 32, 6'2", 220, 92 speed, 91 hit power, 90 acceleration. The guy is a monster. He's all over the field. You can see the stats on the bottom right of the screen. Through 7 weeks, or through 8 weeks actually, 33 tackles, 22 of those coming solo, 6 interceptions through our first 7 games, 2 tackles for a loss, 6 passes deflected, and he's forced 2 fumbles. I mean, nothing. You can't say enough about this guy. What he's meant to this defense. He brings the leadership. At only 23 years old, he's actually one of our oldest guys on our defense. I think our defense average is about 23 years old. So. It's important having him back there. He's playing alongside Buda Baker, who's our free safety, and Buda Baker's been playing real well next to Josh. But Josh has been that guy coming up with the opportunistic interceptions. He's making plays. He's taking 2 back to the house for touchdowns. So I think Josh is on his way to his Pro Bowl season, especially if he keeps this pace up. We can see him put up 60-plus solo tackles, maybe 10-plus interceptions. Who knows? But Josh, so far, you got a little quote there in the middle from him. I'm just doing what I can to help the team win. Last year, we were very young and inexperienced, but this year, we all took a big step forward as a group. Our offense is one of the best units in the XCFL, and it's time for our defense to step up and start making some plays, and it starts with me. Big-time plays every single game. You can see there. Josh Jones, very important to us. So let's go ahead and move on to our offense side of the football. So we come off a huge year with Tevin Coleman. We traded for him last year, and he put up 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns, easy. Huge season. Well, week 1, Tevin Coleman goes down with an injury. You can see there he's only played in 4 games this year for us. And in steps Dion Lewis, who we signed for cheap in the offseason in free agency to come in and kind of be our change of pace back when we let Theo Riddick go. And Dion Lewis has come in and, just played unreal football for us. You can see 4 through 7 games, and he started, 3 of those. 457 yards, 5 touchdowns, averaging 7.7 yards per carry. Came in and just kind of left off where Coleman left off. And, they both are up there in yards per carry, 7.8 and 7.7. But then actually last game against the Falcons, we finally get Coleman back, and his first carry of the game ends up getting hurt again and has to leave the game. It was only just a quick injury, so he's back for this week. But now with no Dion Lewis actually got hurt and broke his ribs, so now we're going to have no Dion Lewis for our week 9 matchup with the Vikings. So we're going to rely on Tevin Coleman, probably backup running backs. Trey Mason will get a few carries along with Dwayne Washington. But definitely going to miss Dion Lewis. He's a small guy, only 5'8", 195, but the combo of speed, and he's a tough physical runner. He would get in the open field, make some guys miss, but still at the same time lower the shoulder. But we are obviously excited to get Tevin Coleman back as well. Hopefully he can stay healthy the rest of the year, and we can kind of ride him as our workhorse to the playoffs. But we really had to rely on the passing attack, and Matthew Stafford has delivered. He just top of the league in touchdowns and not a lot of interceptions, so we're very happy with our franchise quarterback. Moving on here, another name on the offense side of the football who has just been on fire. Hit me, I'm open. Jarvis Juice Landry. You see some of the highlight reel catches he's making against our divisional opponents there on the left. But through 7 games, 27 catches, 635 yards, 9 touchdowns. Landry he seems to always be open, and he's by far Matthew Stafford's favorite target. Nothing could be. Stafford gets into trouble, and we just lob it up, and Landry's going to go up and make that play. He's caught deep balls. He's gone over the middle. He's really the guy we needed, and a huge trade this offseason to snag him, especially with us dealing away Marvin Jones Jr. and then Golden Tate kind of retiring. So sitting there with Jarvis as our number 1. We got Lawrence McCoy and Kenny Galladay, and Eric Ebron stepped up big time this year as well. So not enough can be said about Jarvis Landry, and if he keeps this production up, and this is through 7 games, but he did miss the first game of the season. He caught 1 pass and got hurt. This is really only 6 games. Huge numbers for Jarvis. Stafford is very happy about the deal. But speaking of Matt Stafford, let's go look at our contract talks. So these are our 2 big guys we got to sign think about signing this season. Obviously, quarterback Matthew Stafford, and then our left outside linebacker Dante Fowler Jr., who we acquired with a trade this offseason from the Jags. With our 3-4 defense, we'll start with Fowler here. With our 3-4 defense, Fowler is more of a pass rusher, and he's not the greatest in coverage. So a lot of when we're thinking it's going to be a pass, we'll actually take Fowler out and slide in some of our other players. He's an excellent pass rusher. I might think about switching him to defensive end, but we have some nice DNs, so not sure what we're going to do with Dante yet. Obviously, the talent's there. He's only 24 years old. He wants that 5-year, $27.6 total $1 million deal. Not sure we want to pay all that, so we'll have to see what we decide to do with Mr. Fowler Jr. here. But to Matthew Stafford, same situation we were in last year. Do we sign him to the big deal? Do we not? Last year he wanted a lot more money per season. I think it was $3 million more per year. So we got his total deal sitting at $44.7 million right now, including that signing bonus, which isn't too bad. He's still at 87 overall, 30 years old, 98 throw power. Stafford will be able to play well into his 30s. But it really comes down to, do we want to shell out that amount of money to a quarterback, or do we want to go find one in the draft? We have a couple first-round picks, and it is a deep quarterback class. We might go make that move. We really aren't sure what we want to do. But like I said, he's been great for us this season. So, you can't really complain when you have a guy like Matthew Stafford in our center. Franchise tag is an option for both of these guys, for Stafford and Fowler. But let's go ahead and talk about one guy that could make our Fowler decision pretty easy, and that is going to be our left outside linebacker, Donald Payne, number 44. He's a small guy, 5'11", 217, very undersized. He came from Stetson University. only 24 years old. This is his second year in the pros. But look at what we really like is his speed. 86 speed, 90 acceleration, 90 agility as a linebacker. 85 hit power as well, so it's a little guy packing a punch. His tackling can get up. We got to up his finesse moves if he's going to play outside for us. The block shed can go up, but the pursuit, the play rec, he's raw, but he's, like I said, the speed makes up for it, especially that speed at linebacker. You really can't go wrong. Donald Payne, remember this guy's name because he's going to get some time throughout the rest of the season to see if he can take that step, and that'll kind of help us decide what we want to do with Dante Fowler. A much cheaper option, a quicker option, that's for sure, in a young, same age. We'll see. Like we said, very raw prospect, but could be a guy that we put right into the lineup and see how it goes. But moving on here, we'll just finish up with some of our team leaders statistic-wise. You can see our passing leaders. Matt Stafford, he hasn't got hurt this year, so he's been healthy, knock on wood. You see the 1,680 yards, completing 59% of his passes, 19 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, 117.9 quarterback rating. He's only been sacked 17 times. The offensive line has done a really good job keeping him upright. So very happy with Stafford's performance so far this year. We're a pretty balanced attack. You can see the rushing leaders here. 4 different guys carrying the football due to the Tevin Coleman injury, but we got Deion Lewis leading the way with 457 yards and 5 touchdowns, but now obviously we mentioned earlier he's hurt. But we get Tevin Coleman back, 39 carries for 303 yards and 3 touchdowns. Hasn't fumbled this year, so that's huge. And then, so backing him up, we'll have Trey Mason, the vet out of Auburn, just done 10 carries. And then Dwayne Washington out of Washington, 5 carries, only 20 yards, and a little bit of mop-up duty in some of our blowout games. Go ahead and slide over here to our receiving leaders with Jarvis Landry leading the way. We're really focused on getting other guys involved. Lawrence McCoy, the rookie, sitting there with 13 catches, 230 yards. Hasn't scored his first career touchdown yet in the regular season. Scored, I think, 3 or 4 in the preseason. But looking to get Lawrence more involved. Tight end Eric Ebron, 11 catches with 5 of those going for touchdowns and almost 400 yards receiving. 147 yards after the catch. So that's big time from a tight end. And then Kenny Galladay. 11 catches, 210 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Looking to get some of the other guys involved. We got that rookie Nate Sims, rookie Ishaq Douglas. Both those guys are trying to get more involved. Sims has actually caught 3 balls for 104 yards and a touchdown. He caught a big 48-yard touchdown in one of our games to start out the year. But yeah, look for those guys to get more involved. Landry will keep doing what he's doing, and that'll be it. But there's some of our offensive leaders. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Just figure this is easier to do than an article. More fun, cool graphics. The next episode will have game highlights. We have our 3 games coming up against the Vikings, the Niners, and who's our other game against? I want to say Vikings, Niners. Let me pull up my schedule real quick. Vikings, Niners, and Rams. So we got 3 good games coming up. We'll have highlights from those. Little play-by-play action. But thanks for tuning in. As always, I'm your host, Herman Moore, and we are out of here. Thanks, guys.